everybody, my name is Tori and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing I'm going to call this my summer wrap-up because this is my wrap-up for July and August. And also that brings me into my next point real quick. I'm thinking about just doing seasonal wrap-ups from now on because I've decided that since school is starting and I have a lot of other activities going on, I'm just going to be uploading every other Friday, which means there will typically be about 2 uploads a month, and if one of them every month is a wrap-up, that's not going to be a lot of fun for me to edit or for you guys to watch. So I think I'm going to do things like my summer wrap-up, then my fall wrap-up, winter, spring, you know. So this is my summer wrap-up. This month I read 5 books and a total of 2,056 pages, which is the most pages I think I've ever read in a month, at least as far as I have been recording how much I've been reading. This was definitely an odd couple months looking back at my Goodreads because I had 1 3-star and 4 4-stars, and that's it. And as far as genres go, I read 2 fantasies, 1 graphic novel, 1 paranormal romance, and 1 thriller. And also I would just like to say that I've been watching a lot of Gabby Reid's videos, and for her past 3 videos she has just been wearing a sweater and she's been putting a blanket over herself. And I just felt very cozy today, because also it's 10 o'clock at night when I'm filming this. So I'm in a big sweater, and I hope that you guys are nice and cozy as you're watching this. I'm probably going to upload this on Friday night, so that way you guys can be all nice and cozy. So the first book I read back in July was King's Cage by Victoria Aveyard. This is, of course, the 3rd book in the Red Queen series. And oh my gosh, I loved this book so much. Of course, I love this entire series so much. Oh my gosh. So I'm not going to talk about this one too extensively because 1, if you've watched any of my other videos, you already know how much I can gush about this series, how much I adore this series. Also because this is the 3rd book in a series, so I don't want to talk too much about it. I could end up spoiling some of it. All I'm going to say is that I gave the first 2 books in the series 5 stars, but I did give this one 4 because while I still loved the writing style and the world building and everything about this, there were a couple chapters that seemed to drag a little bit more than usual. I have heard a couple people say that they think Glass Sword dragged a little bit, but I personally didn't think so. I honestly thought that this one dragged a little bit in places, but still, great story, great book, love it. Please read this series. I don't know how to read. The next book I read was Apocalypse Suite from Umbrella Academy by Gerard and Gabriel. This is what the Netflix show is based off of. I have a reading blog for this, and you can go check that out right over there. I gave this book 3 stars. This collection kind of encompasses the first season of the show. I did personally enjoy the show better. For anyone that hasn't heard, this is about a group of kids who all get adopted. They were all born on the same day and they all grow up to have special abilities. And then 30 years down the line, their father dies, so they all come back together and they all have to stop the end of the world. It's very interesting. Like I said before, I think that the show, personally, I enjoy the show better, but these are still very good. Oh boy. The next book I read was Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. Oh boy. I'm 10 years late to this. I don't know what I have to say that hasn't already been said. I liked the story. I thought it was an interesting story, interesting premise. The writing style was choppy. I'm not even going to talk about the problematic stuff. Edward sneaking into Bella's room in the middle of the night. Oh my god. I went into this book expecting to hate it. I was like, I'm gonna read this and I'm gonna have so much fun tearing it down. I'm gonna be like, oh, what is this? Oh, it's so dumb. What a dumb book. And I ended up giving it 4 stars. I know. I buddy read this with one of my best friends, and it was just such a fun experience. So she already read these books. So this was my first time experience. I've never read the books, I've never seen the movies, I know. So this is honestly my first experience with Twilight. and it was honestly a lot of fun. I think I can compare this book to junk food, because I know that it's not good for me. I know that I shouldn't have it all the time, but every now and then you just gotta indulge yourself, and it's fun. Also, one thing I have to say is, first of all, I thought that the entire series was the love triangle. It's not. Jacob is barely a character in this. I also don't see how Jacob is gonna become a love interest, because right now at least. And yes, before you ask, we're reading the entire series and then we're marathoning the movies. Also, I uploaded a video a couple weeks ago of me making outfits based on books and book covers. Go click right there or down in the description to watch it. It's a very fun video. I had a lot of fun making it. I know I just said oh boy about the last book, but oh boy about this book. The next book I read was I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Iain Reid. I have a reading vlog. Go check it out. Go check it out. I gave this 4 stars. This was the thriller I read, and all I can say is what the hell. I definitely need to reread this. I enjoyed it. I think that the writing was really, really good. I think that Iain Reid was really great at creating something atmospheric and really having the feeling of being alone. I can't really say anything about the book. I don't even know what to say. All I'll say is that it has great writing. It has amazing symbolism, like phenomenal symbolism. And there's a really crazy twist that I did not see coming. And that's all I'm gonna say, because I literally can't give you any more information about this book. Just go read it. Oh my gosh, go read it. Oh my gosh, go read it. Sorry, these last 3 books have just made me emotional. Not emotional, they've just elicited very strong reactions, but the last book I read in August was War Storm by Victoria Aveyard. Wait, let me move closer. I'm like really far away from the camera. War Storm is the 4th and final book in the Red Queen series. I'm gonna put a couple pictures. It might be just one picture, I don't know. I procrastinated on reading this book for the longest time. And not because I didn't want to read it. I wanted to read it. I needed to know what happened. I needed to know the ending. But because I didn't want it to end. I didn't want this series to be over, but as you can tell, I had no 5-star books. I gave this one 4 stars as well, and I will talk about that now. I really love the way that this book wrapped up the story for the characters. I'm a little upset with a couple things, honestly. Again, I don't know how much I can say about this without, spoiling, so skip to here if you do not want to be spoiled for pretty much the entire Red Queen series, because this is the last book.
Hi, I'm sorry, this kind of just became an in-depth analysis of the book, kind of a review. I didn't really mean for it to be, but I just started ranting and then it became that, so have fun, I guess.
There were a couple things that I'm a little upset about. 1, this is probably just me, and I know that there's a ton of other fans who love him too, but I wish we got more Killorn. I miss him. I missed him. He was like the entire catalyst for this entire series. He was the catalyst for the entire series. He was the jumping off point for Meyer in the very first book. He's the reason everything in this series happens, and he was kind of half in the first book. He was in the beginning half, and then he wasn't, and then he was again, and then he wasn't again. Then in Glass Sword, he was a huge character, which made me very, very, very happy. And then he was barely in King's Cage. He was in a couple of Cameron's chapters in King's Cage, and then he was barely in this book too. Like, yeah, he was there. He was in this more than he was in King's Cage. But all the chapters, all the scenes that he was in with Meyer felt like even if he wasn't there, things wouldn't have changed. He wasn't an important character. And that made me so sad. That made me so sad. I loved him. He was like my favorite character. Oh, second of all. So the final battle scene in itself felt a little underwhelming for me. Victoria Aveyard is typically really great at writing these huge, fast-paced battle scenes that you can like picture in your head. The last one, the battle on Archeon. It's almost like she was focusing on such minute details going on with the characters that you couldn't picture the entire battle, you know? And maybe she did that on purpose. Maybe it's because, maybe that was supposed to say, like, this battle is so big, there's no way you could see the entire picture. But I feel like there would have been better ways to go about that. I feel like she focused on the tiny details too much. I don't know, the last battle just felt a little flat for me. Finally, I also think that in the scene, one of the final scenes with Iris and Senra, they're fighting, and then the Mersive goes and swims underneath and kind of wrecks their battleships. We're getting this from Iris's perspective. And she's talking to Senra, her mother, the Queen of the Lakelands. Iris is like, come on, Mom, we can still win this. And then Senra goes, but can we? And you can obviously tell that she's thinking about retreating, which then of course she does because, you know, good always wins. The entire time we're getting Iris's perspective throughout this entire book, we're always seeing how well she's able to read people. And we've always seen that she has a great connection with her mom. And I think that she should have been able to read her better at the very end. Because at the end, it's almost just a snap decision for Senra. She's just kind of like, they have a submarine, we can't win, let's go home. Which I guess makes sense. And yeah, I would guess that would make sense in battle. You would retreat to keep your army, to keep yourself safe. But there was almost no deliberation. Considering how big of a battle this was and how important it was to the Lakelands, this entire series was leading to this one battle. And that's it. She just gives up. She didn't give up because later, after that scene, they talk about how they retreated, they're calling a ceasefire, but only a temporary ceasefire. Like, they might come back and start battling again, but we don't hear about that. So I get that it was a temporary decision, but even then, I feel like Senra still should have had more deliberation. There was only like a half a page of deliberation. I think there should have been at least a page and a half. Maybe not a page and a half, that might have dragged on a little long. At least a page. At least a page of Iris watching her mother, watching the gears turning in her head and trying to figure out, should we go home? This might be our last chance we have to finally defeat Norda, but I have my daughter here and I have myself here and I can't lose my daughter and I need to keep my kingdom safe. I feel like we could have had that back and forth and that hesitation and deliberation. I feel like we could have had a little bit more of that. I feel like she just made the decision and she was like, okay, we'll go home. We'll come back later. But still, despite all that, despite all my ranting, I still love this book. I still love this series. Victoria Aveyard is still one of my favorite authors. And I'm definitely going to read Broken Throne. I'm definitely going to read Cruel Crown. And I am 100% going to read Realmbreaker, which is her new book coming out in May 2021. And I am so excited for that. So, those were all the books that I read this summer, aside from June, but that's in my last wrap-up. These are all the books that I read in July and August, and I thought that I could add a little thing at the end of my wrap-ups now, with what I am currently reading. So I'm currently reading The Secret Life of Bees by Sue Monk, and yes, I am annotating this quite a lot, as you can see. I'm not even halfway through the book yet, and look at all those tabs. I'm reading this for school. I'm kind of enjoying this so far. I'm not really sure. I kind of like the writing style. I'll talk about this more in my next wrap-up. And that's it for this video. I hope you guys are having an amazing, amazing day, or night, I guess, because I'm gonna upload this at night, or whenever you're watching it. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and this is Tori, wrong hand, and this is Tori, signing off. I don't know how to read.